The Utah Jazz have made their draft picks. Let's go ahead and talk about them.
Also, folks, before we get into content, we did just release a brand new channel, Utah Jazz DNA. It's a channel specifically towards Utah Jazz content. We cover a lot of stuff on our main channel here. So if you're watching us mainly for our Jazz content, we have a specific channel geared specifically to that. So be sure to check it out. It'll be in the comments. It'll be in the description below. And if you are watching this on that channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're going to be doing a giveaway on that channel as well. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our Utah Jazz basketball, shall we?
Oh, yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we're 2 for 2, man. We are 2 for 2. So last year I called Taylor Hendricks as the first pick for the Utah Jazz. And this year you picked the number 1 pick for the Jazz, Cody Williams, a 6'7" wing, the number 10 overall pick from Colorado. What is your first reaction to the Jazz getting this pick?
Dude, I mean, I say it in the video before. This kid has a huge potential upside, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can shoot it. He handles the ball. I mean, pretty good for his size. Obviously, he is young, dude. I think he's 19. So, he only played 1 season at Colorado. So he does need to add some strength. He needs to be, more assertive with the basketball. But the Jazz, I mean, it's reported the Jazz were very impressed with his maturity through this whole drafting process. And in his interview, he did really well. There's times in this draft where this kid was a potential top 5 pick.
Yeah, so that's something I want to talk about first. There was a lot of rumors about the Jazz trying to trade up to number 5 by trading the later 2 picks to get to the number 5 pick. And I think it's because they thought that Cody Williams could be off the board.
Absolutely.
Because everybody did have him going much higher, anywhere from 5 to 7. That's usually where they had him ranked at.
Yep.
So I think that's exactly what happened. I think the trades that they were trying to facilitate to get this kid fell through. And then they realized, well, he might slip to where we want him. And that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened, dude. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better drop in the way that those first 9 picks played out, because I do think this is the guy the Jazz wanted. I think they were willing to make some trades to get down there to get him. And I am super excited about him. I mean, he is that player that I think the Jazz needed. He is like a true wing kind of defender.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots it pretty good. He is a pretty good defensive player, which obviously the Jazz were hurting for last year, being the last rated defense in the league. I don't know, man. What's your thought? How are you feeling about this?
Man, I did a lot of research last night on this to talk about this on the episode today. I was kind of a Debbie Downer about the whole thing. I'm just like, this guy really, I know he was your pick and everything, and it was a good pick, but honestly, my pick was literally 7 picks later. Yeah, Dalton Neck was like literally just 7. He fell.
They passed on him.
I'm like, why is everybody passing on this kid? This is exactly what they need in a big-bodied guard that can shoot and facilitate. For the fact that the Jazz didn't take him blew my mind. And honestly, he is Cody Williams is the younger brother of Thunder star Jalen Williams. He only spent 1 year at Colorado. Was very limited due to only 24 games due to injury. Very small sample size. He averaged 12 points, 3 boards, 1.6 assists, 0.6 steals, 0.7 blocks, and averaged 28 minutes per game, basically. He shot 41.5% from 3, which was impressive, but again, very limited sample size.
Only 1.7 attempts per game, right?
1.7 attempts, and out of the 194 total shots this guy had in college, again, only 194 shots. 41 of them were from 3. So not exactly huge sample size there. So basically out of 41, he made what? 18, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
So not a lot there. Good news is he is further along development wise defensively than he is offensively. And I think that he could help the Utah Jazz. He was a Pac-12 all freshman team. Then I, listened to David Locke's Locked On Jazz podcast. He was really high on him. This is exactly both players, which we'll talk about our other player here, Isaiah, in a minute. But I do want to say that I am optimistic about Cody. I do. His intangibles, his size, his length, his ability to basically just get into the paint and kind of facilitate without having to overexert his physicality. With the fact that he's so scrawny, he needs to put on some weight.
Right.
I definitely think it's great, man. I think there's a huge upside there. I at the time, the draft was like, okay, fine. I think we're just taking the best player available, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I think that he's got a shot to really develop in this system into being something that's really special here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I like the pick. Kind of like I said in our pre-draft video, I think this is going to be some good, healthy competition for Taylor Hendricks, because they are similar size. They play a similar role. Hendricks is a little bit more of a 4, and I think Williams is a little more of a 3.
Yeah.
Even though they're like similar sizes, but I like the length. I like his defensive prowess. I think this is a great pick for the Jazz, especially because they do need this type of role and size. So no, I like it.
Okay, let's go ahead and talk about their 29th pick, which is a guard from USC. And this is Isaiah Collier. Had an underwhelming, and this is NBC's words, not mine, because I actually have a different opinion on this, at USC, shooting 49% on average from the field, 16 points per game, 33% from three, which again, very limited, 27 out of 80 total. So, there you go. The Jazz have added another undersized guard to their rankings there. Yeah, if we didn't have enough of these guys, now we have another one. So congratulations.
I mean, he's not a bad sized guard. He's 6'4".
6'3".
He's not. Oh, is he 6'3"? So 6'4" in shoes. Oh, 6'3" with shoes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking he's a little bit bigger than that. I just want to go on record and say there is a video on YouTube of me saying specifically, this is not the position that I want the Jazz to draft. This is not at all. I don't want them to pick up any undersized guards.
Yeah. So when you were super excited about it, I'm just like, you literally said,
especially guards that can't shoot. And guess what they picked up? Isaiah Collier, who is exactly that. This is a ball dominant guard that doesn't shoot the ball great. He isn't a great defensive player for the size that he even is. His jump shot's mediocre. He turns the ball over a lot. He's pretty much everything the Jazz don't want, but the kid is a freak downhill scorer. So if we're going to look at upsides, and the fact is he's a Jazz man now, I got to get behind him. I got to look at the upside. He does apply a lot of rim pressure, as he can drive the ball and score. And I think that's really important for a Jazz team that is going to, that hopefully is going to be hunting down a shooter, right? We need some more shooting on this team. And when you have somebody like Isaiah Collier that can drive the ball and, put some pressure on the paint, it's going to help get guys open on the edges. So I'm okay with that. I don't know if Isaiah Collier plays a whole lot of.
Yeah,
I think he's probably heading to the G League to kind of do some development. That's probably where he needs to go. Again, he didn't play a whole lot at USC. He was injured, but USC's production fell drastically when Collier was off the floor.
Yeah,
they went on a real bad run.
For his size, I think he's probably one of the better defending guards in the draft. To be 100% honest, with his size there, I think he's going to be a good defensive guard. I see a lot of heart and hustle in this kid in the minutes that he did play in the film that I did watch on him. So I will give him that. I do see very something similar to for these guys, like we saw with Bryce Sensabaugh and Taylor Hendricks, when they both spent about half the season down in the G League just to kind of get up to speed. Yeah, we may see an early call up, but for the most part, we'll probably see him down there quite a bit.
And Isaiah Collier, he was the number one high school basketball player.
Number one recruit. Yep.
That's insane. So this kid's got ridiculous raw talent. I'm curious to see how this season kind of plays out, how many minutes he gets. Do you have anything on their second round pick? Did you get anything on Kyle Filipowski? Okay, I'll just go a little splurred on it real quick. With number 32, the Jazz they pick Kyle Filipowski. This kid was originally a lottery pick. Like when this whole thing started, there was no way he was going out before 20. Like he would even be available before 20. Kyle Filipowski out of Duke.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, when we were talking, there was no way he was going to be available at the 29th pick for Isaiah Collier.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he fell all the way down to 32. Jason Tatum tweeted, "A lot of teams going to regret passing on Flip." He did have a standout season at Duke. He averaged 16 points, 8 rebounds. In 36 starts, also had 1.5 blocks, 1.1 steals per game. So ESPN reports were that he didn't have a great pro day. He struggled to make shots, that his workouts weren't great, and he really was nervous in his interviews and struggled during those. And that's kind of the reason that he fell so far out of the first round. He was in the green room.
Yeah.
He was one of 2 players in the green room that didn't get drafted
on the first day.
Yeah. So he was expected to go first round. This is a fantastic pickup for the Jazz. This guy I'm willing to bet Collier, even though he was drafted earlier, will probably end up in the G League. I would say Filipowski ends up on the roster and could be potentially fighting for some of those minutes. He's a good shooter. He's a great player. That's probably one of the most surprising picks. the fact that he fell that far, and probably the best pickup for the Jazz.
Yeah, I remember talking about this 7-footer.
Yeah.
I remember looking at this guy in early draft picks. I cannot believe he was available.
Yeah, at 32.
That is insane.
Yeah. So I think with all this being said, though, I think it kind of tells you, expect the Jazz to keep pushing hard when we go into free agency here, right? They got young talent is fantastic, and drafting guys is great, but the fact is you can't have a team full of 19 and 20-year-olds out there just trying to, figure it out a whole season. So the Jazz are going to keep pushing to probably try to get some shooting around Larry. There was an ESPN notification earlier that said teams are interested in Larry Markkinen. The Jazz are not interested in moving him.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it. They set their price, man, and then if no one's willing to come to that price, why would they?
They're not going to.
They didn't want to move him in the first place, and the fact that they even said, yeah, well, we have an asking price for him, and it's going to be a Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert-esque type haul. And we did have a lot of people in the comments for our previous videos. By the way, thank you guys for coming in the videos that we post on our channel there. Also keep in mind, folks, we do have our own channel called Utah Jazz DNA. Be sure to check that out. Or if you're watching on this channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing a giveaway for that. It's amazing, man. 47% from the field, 31% from three. His field free throw percentage is 71. That's pretty good for a 7-footer in college.
Yeah.
15 points per game. He does have 2.5 turnovers a game, 8 boards. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think Filipowski was absolutely the best player available at 32, no doubt about it. Especially for a big man. I think that, if that's the case, and Kessler if they are looking to potentially move Kessler, this is a great pickup to potentially fill that role. But at that point, you have to ask your question, you have to ask yourself, what do you plan on doing with John Collins, who kind of started at center most of the season for us?
Yeah, I don't
think Collins stays with the team. I think the Jazz are going to look to move his ridiculous contract for one.
You're not going to get to. Unless you eat a large portion of it, you're not moving them,
and that's what they'll have to do.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I like the draft. It definitely didn't seem like. What's his name? Denny Ainge did say earlier in the year that he wasn't looking forward to having a team where he had a majority of the team under the age of 21. Well, guess what? That's what you have now. You have 6 people in the. If you keep all these picks, you have 7 people in the roster under the age of 21.
Yeah.
So that's that kind of tells you where they're at. So. Would these things be traded, or are some of these picks going to be traded for that whole quote unquote big game hunting that we talked about before and what he mentioned in a press conference? I don't know, man. I just think he's coming to a little bit of reality there that it's not as easy to trade to get players to come to Utah in this day and age. I just don't think it's that easy.
Fun fact, though, Kyle Filipowski and Keontae George played on the USA men's basketball 3-versus-3 team and won gold.
I saw that. That's pretty awesome.
There's some chemistry already, man.
Yeah, I like it. We want to know what you think, folks. Let us know in the comments down below. What do you think how the Jazz did on this draft? If you're going to do an overall rating on the draft, what would you put it at? If I was to give the Jazz a grade on this one, I'd have to say with how their picks fell, and I think they got the 2 players they really wanted. So I have a hard time giving anything less than a B, I think.
I'm going to go B+, maybe even an A, just because they got some really talented raw players that could help them for years to come in the future.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just best player available or what have you there, but we don't know how much these rookies are going to see the court because we already have rookies that need to get playing time. I don't think you really have an answer. Even Danny Ainge says he doesn't really know where Keontae George is going to play. Is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard? I don't know. We'll see. So there's still a lot to be decided there. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Once again, folks, we are on the grind to 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit that, we will be giving the first $500 we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. So if you have not yet, please subscribe to the main channel, DNA Sports Recap. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway, and also hit that like button. We did launch Utah Jazz DNA, so if you're watching this on that channel, we'd like to thank you for watching and tuning into that channel. Please hit subscribe. We'll be doing a giveaway on that channel as well. That is our channel specifically for Jazz content. So if you're watching us specifically for the Utah Jazz, you'll find all of our content there as well as the main channel.
Yep, absolutely.